Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Velocity Online Racing's coverage of the International IndyCar League, coming to you live from the Autodromo Nazionale Monza, also known as the Temple of Speed, for round 10 of season 29. Built in 1922, this fabulous strip of asphalt is the third oldest purpose-built racetrack on the face of the earth, and to this day is still the home of some fantastic racing feats, such as the Italian Grand Prix. Alongside me in the commentary booth today, once again, is Sebastian Kinder, fresh out of the car from last night's Velocity Online Racing Indy 500. Seb, what do you think of the main differences the drivers will have to adapt to compared to their normal oval skill set? Yes, this is sort of still an oval to some extent, although we are turning right instead of left, but it's Monza. Speed is king, and this is very much so still slipstreaming territory compared to what you were doing yesterday, where races can be changed in a heartbeat, especially with that first chicane down into turn one. We usually see a lot of incidents and drama breaking out from the very get-go. But if you were in the driver's seat today, what do you think you would be going about today's race with?
Well, hello Jack, hello to everyone who is watching at home. Not relating to your question, but actually Monza is not the third oldest racetrack active on the planet. It's actually Indy. Indy is actually the third oldest. Milwaukee is the oldest. I think there's a second one, which is Brooklands, which is or Brookworks, who is the second oldest racetrack on the planet. But as a driver, well, this is 100% different beast than just Indy. Yes, you do have slipstream, but you also now have those very heavy braking zone. At Indy, you only use the brakes for like pitting. Here, you use the brakes for the first chicane, the second chicane, Ascari, a bit for the Parabolica. This is a whole different beast all of itself, and there's going to be tire wear to also take into account how you use your tires, different compounds of tires also to be used. So, Jack? This will not be one into one. That's what I was going to say.
No, definitely I agree with you. So we're looking at maybe 7 to 8 lap stints today, possibly 9 if you want to be pushing for that extra lap. We've got partly cloudy conditions, an air temperature of around 20 degrees, so it's relatively warm out there, much warmer than where I am at the moment in the UK. Humidity at a very low 5%, track temperature 21 degrees, so tire wear may not be as much of an issue as these drivers might have been used to in recent races, although with that 7 to 8 lap stint estimated length, we will be seeing in the region of 2 to 3 stops today. So as you said, Seb, we have 2 different tire compounds with us today, although these guys have never been to Monza before, so this is a new track and a new challenge. Looking at the driver standings though, on the right hand side of your screen, Matthias Strauss is leading the way with 686 points, with Roden Eftink very hot on his heels in second place. He's going to be starting from the back of the field today after an end-of-line penalty, winning last time out in Motegi. David Strid, though, you don't want to count him out, 28 points back. So, looking at the grid then, Roden Eftink, it does say that he is starting on pole. However, as just mentioned, he will be starting at the back of today's race. So, Aman Lal will inherit the pole position for this race at Monza. Alongside him will be Matthias Strauss. Aman Lal, I think, is very good on these sort of road course layouts, so definitely one to watch for him. Matthias Strauss, your championship leader, as I said, alongside with David Strid, third in the championship in P3. Row 3 then, Nigel Stock and Jason Lowe, another one to watch out in the 004. Always a contender in these International IndyCar League races, so definitely don't write him off. Dan Ench in the 52 on row 4. Alongside him is Ryan Bowles, the independent. And then row 5 to round out the grid. Mike West, unfortunately, not being able to set a qualifying time in that 999, although, Seb, as you said, maybe it's a good thing if you're starting towards the back of this one. Yeah. You don't want to get tangled up in that T1 carnage.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of Monza on Le Mans Ultimate, and yeah, turn 1 is always, death. So this is the trickiest part. Like, if you're a driver, the first thing you need to have in mind is like survive the first 2 chicanes, and then see it from there. That's the advice I would give to today's drivers.
One thing that they might need to watch out for as well, because we only have this massive long straight, and of course the Parabolica recently been renamed, I think. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but in my heart, it's always going to be named the Parabolica. They might need to watch out, though, into turn one for the cold tires sort of aspect to this, because they haven't really got too much time to warm their tires, and it's a very slow chicane to a very hard acceleration zone.
Exactly, so you gotta watch out for that, especially with cold bricks too. So as we see, I think the top two right now are on alternates, on primaries. The rest are on alternates, so Jack, this is going to be very interesting in turn one.
Yeah, we're about to find out very shortly. Aman Lau, Matthias Strauss then on the front row of the grid. As you say, on those primary tyres, they're going to be on the back foot as the rest of the field seem to be on those red stripe alternate tyres. Green flag is about to wave in the air, and we're going to get underway for 43 laps of the International Autodromo de Monza. Watch them fan out as they run down to turn one. Aman Lau holding his line, seems to have the edge over the rest of the field. Moves to the middle of the circuit now, but has the edge into turn one. Yeah, look at that. About a gap or so. Goes very wide, actually. Everyone seems to be making it through that first chicane absolutely fine. No spinners to report of. And now everyone filing out, so to say. Not too much action going on, as there's actually, I think that was Rodan Eftink making some very good progress early on, going around the outside into the second chicane.
Yeah, very, very clever of Matthias Strauss. He always see the lock up back there. Matthias Strauss actually went all the way down to the inside of the track to prevent someone to having the bright idea of doing a dive bomb.
Yeah, you see Rodan Eftink riding on board through the two Lesmos, very fresh off I think, a very good result for him in the Indianapolis 500 for the Velocity Online Racing Championship that we cover here on the Velocity Online Racing YouTube channel. He's now making some very good progress, and whoa, big slide there for Rodan Eftink coming through Ascari. That must have been a heart-in-mouth moment for him.
Exactly, and he's now right behind his championship rival, Matthias Strauss. So yeah, that's good for Matthias. Like, he's already there. Damn it!
Oh, he's not hanging about, is he? Stock making the progress up to second place. The only rookie we have in the field today. He's going to be impressed with that start. Matthias Strauss, though, looking back, there is the number 18 of Rodan Eftink to the inside. Strauss isn't going to defend this very early on. Only lap 2, remember, of 43. And there we go. The move is made, and the move is done and sealed for Rodan Eftink up into turn number 1. Everyone losing a little bit of front wing. I think that was Strauss.
Oh, that's bad. That's very bad. That's also the right part of the wing. So actually, yeah, since we turn right a lot on this track, this can be... He can deal with it, but that's going to be super tough with that chopped wing.
I think this is going to be a replay. We're seeing the move. So this is the move that Eftink did on Strauss, and what I could tell, it was stock that just caused a little bit of a checkup. This is on board with Strauss here. Everything looks okay.
Oh, wow. What the... I don't know what Stock was doing at the exit of the corner. Accelerator is on the right, buddy. you also have a hybrid. And Matthias now is going to be survival with this chopped wing.
This is very much so going to be damage limitation. Going into this race, only 2 points ahead of his championship rival Eftink, and contact with Stock has put him definitely on the back foot, as now David Stritt is looking up his inside in the background. Stock losing the place to Eftink, so he's definitely not losing out. He's making some progress, but this man on your screen here, Jason Lowe, you need to watch out for him. I feel like he's definitely going to be a dark horse come late in this race. He's very good at strategy, is Mr. Jason Lowe, and last time I covered an International IndyCar League.
Oh, they crashed! Oh, big one! Oh my goodness me!
Oh my word, and they're still crashing. Oh, Jason Lowe.
Yeah.
My word, what on earth has gone on there? That's big damage. He's not going to be out, is he?
I think he tangled with Strauss. That's...
This is going to be a replay. Seb, talk us through this one.
Okay, so they're side by side through there. Like, Strauss still on the left. It just comes... I think it just slightly come down to Matthias. Like, they were also, like, wanting the same piece of road, but, like...
Yeah, so this is on board This is on board with Lowe. They're going to go down the front straight. It's almost like they're going for the same piece of tarmac. Lowe's on the softer compound.
And Lowe is slightly, very slightly coming down to Matthias. But you can't really. That's just unfortunate. I mean, Strauss also did have those.
Very much so, super close racing.
Yeah,
I think maybe a little bit too much close racing for this early on in the race.
Because you can side draft actually in these cars. Like, why are you doing this like on lap 3? This is. I don't understand the move, and this is for Matthias. Like, this is a huge blow to his championship hopes.
Yeah, as Matthias, you can't really go further to the left. We saw on his onboard, he was right up against the grass there. As that's a mistake for Aman Lal. That's your leader going through an alternate line into the first chicane, and he's now going to have his teammate right hot on his heels. And as you say, it might be a slowdown. So that's going to be almost the inheritance of the lead for Rodan F-Tank. It's going to go 4 laps to go from last potentially to first. We'll see how much his teammate will fight this one. It's going to be a very interesting show for our producer behind the scenes running both of these cars, Mr. Team Boss Julian on the board today. He's going to be a bit 50 about this one, but Aman Lal keeps the lead.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm asking what this is the running joke when I'm broadcasting, and you have the 2 alternate autosport cars in the lead. Julian in my headset, like, what did you put inside of these cars for them to go so fast?
I think it's the hours that these guys put in. They have incredible hours. I spent a little bit of time helping them prepare for the Charlotte race not too long ago, and these guys definitely don't mess about with putting in the work. They constantly run 5 laps, change a little thing, run 5 laps, change a little bit more, and that just puts into emphasis, and the results show on circuit. I mean, we're only 4 laps into this one, and they're already the best part of 3 seconds clear of the third place man, Nigel Stock. But you know what? I think I'm a little bit almost disappointed that we had that big accident so early on, taking out our championship leader. He's now 2 laps down. It doesn't look like he's going to make an appearance back out on circuit today. So with the championship standings, that 2-point advantage that Strauss is going to have going into, I believe it's Michigan that these drivers are going to next. Unfortunately, we won't be broadcasting that on the Velocity Online Racing channel, but he's going to have quite a job to do, don't you think, if Rodan even finishes in the top 2 here?
Yeah. This is a huge blow, because he's like scoring 7th place points, and like Rodan will go back to back. There's still 3 rounds. Like, you have Michigan, you have Atlanta, and you have Indy at the end, like as we see again. But like for Matthias, like, it all went from bad to worse. Like after like him getting his wing chopped off. Like, that was the left part of the wing, not the right. And this is a scary one. This is, by the way, like, who's the one who went under?
I want to say that was Dan Ench that took evasive action there. This is Dan Ench in the 52. Look at this. This is going to be an onboard and a half.
He's the one. So that's balls actually. That actually went under the spinning car.
Like, gonna see this.
How did?
Lucky man.
You can thank the netcode gods.
Yeah, definitely thanking the netcode gods for that one. Unfortunately for Dan Ench, he wanted to go right, went left, got on the grass and lost the rear end of the car, and sort of had his own accident in sympathy of trying to avoid the spinning Jason Lowe there. But if this is live pictures, the drivers have used their fast repair that they do get in the International IndyCar League, but without a safety car, we're not going to really see these cars back into contention once more. Although with only 9 cars, they will still pick up points, but it's sort of damage limitation for the likes of Strauss, Ench, and Lowe at this point in time.
And if you look, like, you still have like a gaggle of cars here, so like if they inconvenience them enough, like they could I don't know, maybe have a bit of a tangle and also have to call the towing truck, which for our stranded buddies down there, like that would be some good news.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like using your 9 lives all at once if you're a cat, isn't it? As we now see a lead change actually at the front of the field. Too busy talking about the big accident of the night, the first event. This is a replay actually you're seeing live on screen. This is into the chicane number 2. This is Rodan Efton Cup the inside in the Buckley Do machine, making that look quite easy actually.
Yeah, this is the standard pass around here. You're in the draft in Curva Grande. You take the draft, and he has a run there. Maybe a bit on the push to pass, and then you just slam the brakes. And yeah, a bit of a dive bomb, and yeah, that's just a good one. Although I think that's an off track for you, Mr. Ivtink, because he kind of cut that chicane a bit.
Definitely.
And with a bit over the curb.
You know what? Whenever I've driven Monza on this iRacing service, they've changed the off-tracks at all the chicanes every single time. So you never know what is actually an off-track and what isn't. I think the last time I drove here, it was as long as you had some sort of tyre on that orange curb on the apex, you were sort of okay. But God knows, they could have changed all sorts of off-tracks. But this now is Jason Lowe. He's going to be chasing Dan Ench into turn number 1 as we head into. They're starting their 7th lap of this race, so this is sort of a period where the pit window might start to open for the next time round for the front runners. That's a pretty easy move for Mr. Jason Lowe up into 8th position. So that's penultimate position at the moment for him. He's going to be on the hard charge though for the rest of this one on those red stripe alternate tyres.
Yep. Well, it's still keeping up with his teammate a bit, but we'll see. Yeah, you were mentioning about the off tracks. This corner was the devil back then. Ascari was terrible, and Lawles just went very wide. Ascari was like you just put like 2 wheels, your inside wheels, like onto like the green AstroTurf stuff there, and it would give you an off track, and that was just so brutal. Monza is, I really don't like Monza on iRacing.
As we might see, no, so Armand Lal actually stays out. I thought we would see our first car dive into the pit lane, so they're going to go a lap longer. Maybe both cars potentially shooting for the possibility of 9 laps, maybe, if they get the enough of the fuel save. As who's this into the pit lane? We see our first car. This is Nigel Stock from 3rd place. So it's going to be, we're going to ride on board with him. No, we're not. We're going to just watch him through the pit lane. It's interesting to see if he's going to go onto the primaries or the alternates once more for this middle stint of the race. It's going to be the primaries. Okay, so he's planning to go a little bit longer and have a little bit of more of the long run pace, which I think that might be a good shout sort of in this middleman period of the race, don't you think?
That sadly, I think with like the reduced fuel tanks we have, I feel like the primaries have less of an edge compared to the alternates, because the alternates you have to do less laps because you have less fuel. So you can use their prime better, and like you don't have to deal with like the inconvenience of like the late sits. So yeah, but okay. you gotta use both tires, I think. So
yes, exactly. So having to use both the compounds, opting, I think that might be the preferred strategy, especially as the field is a little bit more spread out now as we approach lap 10 of this one. The field, yeah, as I say, being a little bit more stretched out. Maybe it's the perfect time to whack on those primary tires, as this is going to be Rodan Efting going into the pit. So this is both Altena Autosport cars into the pit lane, really attacking the entry there. You see that, almost snagging a front wheel.
Yeah, watch out to not go over the speed limit.
Exactly, that could be race ending. We saw a lot of it being decided yesterday with Kyle Clenworth actually saying that it was that ruined his Indy 500 attempt in Velocity Online Racing's Indy 500, the most important one of the year. But both cars actually on to the alternate. So these guys started on the primaries, so they're running sort of, I would expect, the other way around, and this will be them on the alternates for the remainder of the race.
Exactly, I think like, yeah, they're just going to go full alternates for the end of the race. Like, did you know that actually you had on the oval, I think it was for the right turning oval, well, it's still the same oval, you had Indy cars racing against Formula 1 cars back in the 50s?
Really?
Yeah, they did. It was like a non-championship race, but they, yeah, well, as we see Battle of PC, that's Matthias Strauss. We're
going to see this on the run up to cover. Whoa! Mr. miscommunication there, boys.
Oh, Matthias, watch out, buddy. Yeah, you already used your faster pads. This is no time to be super aggressive.
So he tries to make the move there, and then West sort of decides to let him go, but that's a classic miscommunication, don't you think?
It's more like Matthias going to the outside and it's just like suddenly, oh shoot, I'm on the outside moment rather than miscommunication per se, but close one. And oh yeah, and for Matthias, like you're coping and sieving when you see those two blue cars right behind you.
Of course, but no, everyone is sort of okay at the moment. I see Aman actually going a little bit wide there, using exploring track limits and using his entry feed to the full extent, I'll call that. But nothing changes at the front at the moment. Still F-Tink from Aman Lal. It might be the fact that Aman could be trying to extend a little bit and saving a little bit of fuel potentially to push that final or the middle stint a little bit longer to give himself a shorter run to the finish, maybe having a slightly shorter pit stop towards the end of this race to gain a little bit time in the pit stop. And that's going to be something that I think is going to be very, very important.
With those reduced fuel tanks.
Whoa!
Oh, I see. When this is the problem. Like the curves are big here, so like if you just step on them too much, well, you're going to get sent flying. So that's what we call in soccer a yellow card for Mr. F-Tink.
You can see how stiff these IndyCars, these Dallara chassis are. As soon as they touch the curb, they bounce all over the place. Not very good at coping with the curves, but Aman Lal's going to challenge. He's going to challenge around the outside into, what is this, Ascari, and he's actually going to take the lead back. You were looking at a replay just then, but this is now live pictures. Aman Lal retakes the lead into the Ascari chicane from his teammate, Rodan F-Tink, and this is going to be the replay, Seb.
Yeah, so... Okay, so here goes into drafts, push a pass, hybrid usage, and this is like actually, yeah, like it's between teammates. F-Tink knows like he still have pretty good pace, so no need to be super fighting, especially with your teammates. I don't think like our producer, as we see Matthias Strauss, I think, no, that's Mike West. He's going very slowly, so I don't know what's happening with the 999.
Is he going to hit lane? No, he's not. So this is going to be pretty slow. So this is on board with Jason Lowe. We saw it.
He went super wide.
So yeah, he's going to get past Mike West. Whoa!
That was too close for comfort. I don't know what's happening.
I wonder if there's a technical issue or something with Mike West at the moment, because he seems to be sort of almost focusing on something that isn't the task at hand, which is obviously driving the car around at its maximum potential, sort of dipping on and off of the pace.
Like insert the guy wiping off sweat. What's this?
Is this a spin for Jason Lowe into the second chicane? Yeah, too much curb. So good on him. He immediately stepped on the brakes to keep the car from spinning. He lost a bit of time, but that's better than just sending it to the gravel and also the wall, because the wall is very close here. We go back to live pictures. Here's the number 18 machine, hot on the heels of our race leader, our newly elected race leader, Aman Lal, after a small mistake from Rodan F-Tink last time around. Probably a little bit of an unforced error, in my opinion. He had the gap at the coming out of the pits, and it is his teammate behind, so you know he's not going to shove you off the circuit and give you too much. But look at the run here. He's going to save fuel, so he's going to go for the save option.
Yeah, this is stuff like you'd see on like hypercars and stuff like that. But yeah, like lift and coast. This is how these two guys get their extra lap worth of usage. Like they're doing big lifts and coasts. I don't know what fuel maps they're on. I don't think we can't have this information, sadly, on broadcasts. No matter the technology you have, iRacing just doesn't want you to know what fuel maps and roll bars drivers are on. But I'm pretty sure these guys are on fuel saving mode. But I think still like map 6 or map 1.
Yeah, so in these IndyCars, for anyone that doesn't know watching at home, you have 8 different fuel maps on these machines, ranging anything from fuel saving maps to road course maps, to safety car maps, depending on which you use, which gives the drivers a very unique level of adjustability and strategy. Whoa! Where has he gone?
That's the second time he goes super wide this corner.
It's just a challenge. I think Ascari seems to be such a challenge for Aman Low. I noticed, especially, I don't necessarily drive too much of these Indy cars around here. I'm more used to the more used to the GT sports car stuff, which is very much more softly sprung compared to these single seaters. But even those cars, even though they're big and wallowy and tend to take curves much better, they struggle through Ascari. And here's Rodan Eftink. He's not going to go for the move again. He's going to save.
Yeah. I mean, he's in the draft, so he can lift in the stretch to save extra fuel and do the lifting. Because right now, like, I think Rodan can pass Amon whenever he likes. So why? He just stay behind.
That seems to be the thing.
Yeah, he just stay behind, and you know, at least Rodan, I thank you if this is the case. So, like, we can actually pretend that there's like a huge battle for first place, and just like, oh my god, will we go for it or not? But actually, speaking of battle, like, this is Strauss and West, I think. Yeah,
I believe that there was. Ooh. Yeah, so there was a pit stop for Strauss, and I was looking around at the track cams on my own screen, and I saw that there was a spin for, I believe it was Strauss, which may have caused that pit entry, as West is now going to once again lift very, very, almost too much for Matthias Strauss, dropping very, very far back. That's almost a second that he's dropped in the matter of a couple of seconds, and that doesn't really seem to be normal. He's going further back still, losing another second, but we go back to our leaders.
There's got to be a problem with the 999.
Yeah, I wonder if this is going to be some sort of strategic genius that we haven't clocked onto yet, but I highly doubt it, considering he's so far off the pace, losing 3 seconds to Matthias Strauss in only one sector of the circuit. But this is something that we've seen a lot of. Rodan Eftink closing up and then lifting again, making use of the hole that the number 30 punches in the air down into turn number 1, and he's just going to sit there, and seems to be like he's just going to turn the laps away, Seb.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
We noticed and we noted at the start of the stream that Monza is very much Speedway-esque in terms of the way you have to go racing here. Slipstream is a big, big part of it, and we're seeing that play out before our very eyes, with Rodan Eftink not choosing to go for the move. It's not because he doesn't want to, it's not because he can't get past Aman Lau, who is led 9 laps today, and that number, I believe, will still be going strong as we approach the second pit window of this race in the next few laps. I would expect potentially Eftink to think about extending a lap longer than that number 30, and that could then mean an undercut or an overcut for Mr. Rodan Eftink. But it'll be interesting to see the difference in tyre wear. I would not expect it to be too much in that performance for the first opening couple of laps when you have that fresh set of Firestones on your car, with it still being around 21 degrees track temperature on the surface at the moment. But I guess we'll have to find out, won't we?
Yeah, we'll have to find out. As it test for strategy, because this is the great thing with these Indy cars, because you have fuel and you have tires. But you have tires, they don't, because IndyCar drivers are real men, you know? They're not like girly girl from Formula 1 which needs tire warmers out of the gate. No, like the tires, they're like stone cold. They're like, yeah, engine temperature, they don't have tire warmers, so that means like when you get back on track, you have like tires who just can't grip. So this is where like the overcut pays a better dividend, because not only you have warm tires, you also have a pretty much empty fuel tank as they go over the gravel, because yeah, you also do the refueling, because again, IndyCar drivers are real men and not girly girls like Formula 1, and actually they do refueling there.
That's one thing that is, yeah, I totally agree with you. On the oval side of the iRacing surface as a whole, tires and fuel play much bigger strategy aspects compared to the normal road side of things, and that's something that these drivers definitely need to contend with, and which is why I think the top level of IndyCar drivers can be and will be up there with the best drivers on the service, simply because not only are you focusing on driving quickly and focusing on making sure every single apex is met and every single lap has minimal mistakes, but you're also your own strategist, your own fuel calculist, and if that's even a word, you're your own fuel man, I'll rephrase, and you're your own tire strategist. And that's something that I've definitely struggled with coming from the road side of the iRacing service when I have tried stuff like IndyCar and NASCAR as well in the past. And that's why I think that these guys are so incredible for being able to multitask like that.
Yeah, because really, when you do road racing, especially on iRacing, usually races they're very simple. Like I feel like IMS, like for example, when as Jason Logue, just goes screaming past my quest on iRacing. Race length are like super simple. Like there's not a lot of strategy involved. So like you just put the latest, don't put tires on, just put what you need on fuel, and you go to the end. Here, it's much more complicated with tire wear and stuff like that. You just do, you need to have to think outside of the box and have multiple plans, because who knows when that caution comes, or just like when you have like, I don't know, a certain event on the track, your perfect strategy is up in shambles.
Exactly, and the perfect example of that is the Indy 500 or an Indianapolis race of any kind, covering that yesterday. And when I have done my own sort of IndyCar races around the Indianapolis Brickyard Motor Speedway, it's been an incredible thing to listen to these IndyCar drivers doing their fuel calculations while driving at 200 plus miles an hour. It's something that's absolutely bonkers to me. Is Armand Lowe almost jinxed to the pit lane to try and sell his teammate a dummy? I don't know if that was to try and break the draft or to try and get FT to dive into the pit lane, but both go out to start lap 8 as a dive. So here's a change for the lead. Efting to the inside. He's going to get it stopped and met to both apexes absolutely beautifully. Textbook move from the number 18, who's looking to go back-to-back in terms of wins here in the International IndyCar League. He's going to lead the way as we head into the second pit cycle of this afternoon's race. And I think that that's a strategic place. Looking for track position. There's a little bit of a mistake there from Armand Lowe, potentially misjudging that a little bit more.
Yeah, so this is a bad sequence of corner. He braked maybe too late, so he went wide into that second turn as Mike West exited the pits again. And then he just wronged the place, and good for him to not dump it on the gravel there.
Yeah, so Mike West came into the pits there on lap 3, I believe it was, of his stint. So I really think there is some sort of issue that he is trying to manage at the moment, because we should be expecting sort of 7 or 8 lap stints.
I think Mike West maybe isn't used to road racing. Maybe he's more of an oval guy. That's maybe why he's maybe struggling here.
That could be another thing. A lot of these guys coming over from the oval side of iRacing, not having too much experience with the road racing side of things. There we go. Both are in. So this is going to be a 2-horse race off of pit road, approaching the halfway point of this race here at Monza. I wouldn't say that Lal is close enough to be able to jump the 18 in front of him, but who knows, with missing the boxes or a bad exit, both drivers will have to turn off their pit limiter to get the best launch out of the pit lane. And it looks like in the distance there, the order stays exactly the same, with Eftig leading the way as we ride on board with the 48 of Strid trundling down pit road. It almost feels like an eternity, doesn't it, coming down pit road while everyone else zips and zooms past you.
It is so long. It is very long. 50 miles per hour, by the way, pit speed. So I think that's probably like 80 clicks in superior units. Something like that.
I'm a man that prefers to work in miles an hour. I've tried to learn kilometers an hour for the sake of the rest of Europe when I commentate alongside others from European stuff. But at heart, I love the mile an hour units. It's what I've grown up with. So that put aside, this is the I need to actually have a look. I've something slipped my mind. This is, I believe this is stock.
Yeah.
Is this not?
Yeah, natural stock. Yeah, that looks like his car.
So he's managed to recover up into third place, podium position for him in the number 90. Running by himself today, no team to back him up and help him develop a setup, which might actually be a good thing if you look at a silver lining, because then, you know, you may not be running at the front, but at least you learn how to set up a car.
Yeah, I did have some experience in the Aero 5 in the Classic IndyCar Series. Also, sometimes I think I just tore my hair off when we had the 500 in 2023, and I was on my own trying to make a set that was that actually lasted. Thankfully, I had someone that actually helped me with it.
That's a very good thing to point out, because, you know, some people may think that, okay, yeah, doing a car setup, you know, maybe you adjust the wing, maybe you, I don't know, give it a bit more or less tire pressures, maybe, I don't know, you adjust the gearing a little bit, but it's so much more than that. These cars are so complicated with the way they're modeled in this iRacing service, and it's why so many people and so many teams come to the iRacing platform to do their racing, because it is so intricate with the way that setup changes affect the way these cars handle. There's so many different values you can change to enhance or not so enhance, and almost maybe decrease the performance of your car, with the IndyCar being one of, I think, the most complicated that there is out there, on par with the current hypercars that this service provides.
Yeah, and as we saw just then, the push to pass graphic, Nigel Stark is quite he is quite generous in pushing that button. Not even halfway through, he has already used 3/4 of the 200 seconds of push to pass. Yeah, Nigel, you're going to need those 56 remaining seconds for the second half, especially if you have someone coming back on you. Although I think he's pretty much on his own then, so yeah.
Yeah, you say he's sort of by himself. He's sort of 13 seconds off the lead at the moment, that being 12 seconds off of Armand Lal in second place. And then another, well, we're looking more than 10 seconds, almost 20 seconds back to David Strid in fourth place. So he is in what I would call a little bit of a no man's land. Not so much going on in front of him, not so much going on behind him. But I think at this point, it's almost like he's running his own test session. Maybe you're trying to learn the way these cars handle around a street circuit or a road course rather than an oval. And it's a bit of experience, isn't it?
It happens often to me. It's like not the best kind of experience, I'll tell you, because it just feels like a practice session and just like you're on your own. Like you have someone 10 seconds in front of you, you have someone 10 seconds back of you, and you're just like, well, I'm just driving. I'm just driving to the end.
Exactly. It's all about just turning the laps at that point when you have such a big gap in front and behind you. So we see the leaders make their way past Mike West, who is now, unfortunately for him, 2 laps down on the leaders, as we follow along with Rodan Eftink, who has almost been the dominant force in today's race so far as we approach the halfway point. Not so much to report on apart from a couple of incidents. That main big incident that we had between Matthias Strauss and Jason Lowe, which put Lowe a lap down and Strauss a lap down as well. Fortunately for them, they had their fast repair to be used, and they are still well in with the running, although be it a lap down. They'll still get some points. So for Matthias Strauss, for him, Mr. Championship leader, it will be a case of damage limitation. I think I said that earlier on. He's going to be not searching for the win, but searching for as many points as he can. Rodan Eftink, though, will be loving things the way that it is at the moment, out front with a teammate as a buffer to what is already a 14-second gap back to Nigel Stock. And now that we're approaching the halfway point, if you are watching along with us on today's coverage and you like the look of things, we've got plenty more of racing action coming your way in the coming weeks. One of which will be the International IndyCar League at where is that? That will be at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the 15th of March. But next weekend, it is a new series for the Velocity Online Racing channel as we take coverage of the Indy Next series at Sebring. Myself and I believe can't remember who's there going to be with
me.
me. I think
That's
it is
me.
you, Seb. It is going to be you, Seb. So me and Seb will take you through the Indy Next Series at Sebring. That's going to be a first one for us on the channel here at the Velocity Online Racing. So if you like the look of that, like the sound of that, like the way things are going today, be sure to join us for that. Start time will be 8 p.m. I think that's Central Europe time. Yes,
Yeah,
CET.
exactly.
That will be on the 28th of the 2nd. So that is next weekend, next Saturday. Be there to join us. And apart from that, we have got the likes of Phoenix as well for the Indy NXT Series. That will be on the 7th of March. Once again, 8 p.m. Central European time. But then after that, it will be back in action for the Velocity Online Racing Series as they head to Richmond on the 14th of March. That'll be a very, very exciting way to resume last night's action at the Indianapolis 500. That was an exceptional race. Be sure to join us for that. And the International IndyCar League will make their reappearance once again in a few weeks' time with the 29th running of the Indianapolis 250. Coverage will start there on the Velocity Online Racing channel at 3:30 in Central Europe. But if you're joining us from the other side of the pond over in the US, that will be 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. Be sure to join us for that. But looking back to today's race, halfway through, what are you sort of thinking if you're one of these top two cars, Seb?
Today's a good day. Yeah, you have your you are 1-2 your teammates, and you are 30 seconds ahead of everyone. Really, right now, no need to push it. And like, shout out to Monlal, he actually keeps pace with Roden. And right now, just like, yeah, just chill up a bit, and probably by the end, maybe have a little cheeky fight for like some glory points, and probably like a win. And for the rest, well, just do your laps and just, yeah, for now, for all of these drivers, just make it home in one piece. That's the most important.
A cheeky fight for some points and the race win. I like the sound of that. As they approach more lapped traffic, this is going to be Ryan Bowles, who is going to unfortunately drop, I believe, a lap down. This is going to be his first lap down, and Rodan Eftink is going to take the inside line. Ryan Bowles is going to lift very courteously for our lead driver. Maybe a little bit awkward for Aman Lau as we go into the section K.
Yeah,
that's going to be managed.
A shout to Talbos.
Oh
no!
Oh no, Ryan. That's
Ryan
not what you
Bowles.
want to be doing. Dipping a left-hand wheel into the gravel trap. Loss of traction, loops it sideways, locks the car down, gets the car back under the control. But it seems to be that some of the drivers today are really, really struggling to get to grips with this road course here today.
It's not an easy one, as yeah, he just got a bit of his wheels under the gravel. It's not the easiest one, especially because you are a few corners where you're coming out slow and you need to be aware of the traction. So
Look at that replay once again. That rear tire will be so loaded coming off of the corner because you're still turning right and trying to feed the car more power. So the car will have all its weight dived onto that rear left wheel, and unfortunately as soon as you go onto a surface that is even slightly loose and is not rubber tarmac, you are going to find yourself pointing the wrong way very, very, very quickly. But so far the Tifosi have had no man to cheer for other than Rodan Eftink and Aman Lau. It's going to be between these two, I believe, that the Tifosi here today at Monza will have to choose between. I would assume that because purple is closer to the color red, they would probably decide to go with Mr. Aman Lau, but it's going to be a 50-50 split. I don't know who's going to win this one. I always thought that Aman Lau is going to be one to watch on a road course because I believe that that's where he comes from originally, but I'd like to say that Rodan Eftink as well has vast experience on road courses as well.
I mean, I will tell you right now, Rodan Eftink will win this race.
Have you ever heard of the commentator's curse, Seb?
I am actually a professional in commentator cursing.
I said the same thing. I said the same thing to Gary yesterday in commentary about a certain Jesper Dahlgren, and within 5 laps, he caught himself up in an incident that found him in the inside wall. He managed to recover to 7th, though, which wasn't too bad, but the commentator's curse is rife, whether it's real-world racing or racing on sim.
Yeah. I had first place for the Jesper's crash. He scared me by going up the track after that.
Yeah, it was a horrible freak accident, wasn't it? It was one of those accidents that didn't really look very spectacular to start with, but it just went on and on and on and on, and everyone just sort of managed to get themselves caught up in it in one shape or form. But today's a new day. Unfortunately, we don't have Jesper with us this time around, but one man that was running along with him for quite a lot of that race is leading this one.
And he's very close. I wasn't expecting Oman to be so close to Rodin.
I definitely think that the slipstream effect will have a big part to play in this. That's one thing I've noticed, especially with the higher downforce cars. Having the longer straights definitely helps keep cars close to you. So it's going to be more of a, I think it's going to be slightly strategic. I don't know if we can save enough for an entire lap of fuel, but definitely topping off a few liters less here and there is going to make a big difference.
Showing up in the mirrors for a man, very cheeky little, hey, I'm still here. Yeah, those wings are huge. They're big wings for this track, so a lot of drag.
Yeah, it's going to be not only that, but the front wing as well, and the diffuser throwing all sorts of turbulent air out the back of these Indy cars. Not as much as you'd see in Formula 1. Well, I say Formula 1, but they've got a new set of regulations for this year, so we'll see how that turns out. It's
the mom. Oh wait, no. They call it Aero mod, but we all know it's mom.
It's, yeah, with the slightly interesting manual override mode, nicknamed MOM, which, of course, our Native Americans that may be watching along would know that word as mum. So that will be a running joke, no doubt, for this upcoming Formula 1 season. But I think that at the moment, these Indy cars throwing up enough dirty air to keep Aman Lal definitely cemented in that pocket of slipstream as he actually gets a very good run to the second chicane.
Cheeky lol.
That was a really cheeky look, wasn't it? And it almost unsettled F-Tink. You could see there as they went into the second apex, F-Tink was slightly offline and had a bit of snap of oversteer to contend with.
I want to be a little mouse in the Volco chat of those two drivers, see what they're talking about right now, because this is going to be very spicy. Here it comes. He will dive down the inside.
Here comes the move. So they're going to swap into Ascari, whether this is planned or not. Aman Lal up the inside, makes the move before they even turn into the Ascari chicane. I have a feeling that was a little more orchestrated than naturally occurring. So Aman Lal retakes the lead of this race. The two Altena Autosport cars potentially working together at the moment, but as those laps come down with 18 to go at the moment, that says that he started second, but he's now leading the race. Aman Lal up one place since he started. But as I said, 18 laps to go. We actually go into the pits. So this is going to be stop number 3.
Yes.
And they're a lot closer this time, Seb.
And look at this, 18 to go. So they have one more to do. And we know they can do like 9 lap stint. So, yep. All good for them.
We'll see if they take the same striped tires. I would assume it will be a set of alternates.
Red
it's going to be alternates, and Aman Lal continues to hold the lead.
Phasing through his teammate and the pace car.
I think that is allowed here in the International IndyCar League, and it's, I'd say that the gap has opened up by maybe a tenth or two as we now look at David Stritt in a very lonely third place, making his pit stop as Rodan F-Tink out the pits. It's a mistake. It's a mistake looking out of the commentary booth. I'm sure we will get a replay of that, but Rodan F-Tink with the commentary curse, Seb. Making a mistake. Oh, Rodan. All you had to do, buddy, was keep it on the black stuff. We're going to join him halfway through the spin here.
I think, just too trigger happy on the throttle there. Out of the Recifilio.
So this is going to be down into turn 1. Seb thinks it's a little bit too trigger happy on the throttle. First corner, absolutely fine. Takes a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Exactly. Unsettled the car with the apex curb. It's just a visual representation of how stiff these Dallara chassis are. You can see as he mounted that curb, the car completely bounced, and we'll see it once again here. Watch as he comes through that left-hander, sorry.
Yes.
Bounces and he hasn't got the tire temperature, and that is a recipe for disaster.
Especially since the tire is still in the air, so now you don't have the friction of the tarmac, and also like all the strengths restraining the car. So pretty much that wheel can just like spin however it likes, and when it goes down to the ground, well, you're going to spin. So yeah, exactly. I mean, Rodin, my apologies, I jinxed you.
That's the perfect example of it. When you're sort of mounting a curb like that with a car that still has a differential like these Indy cars do, when you're trying to put 800 or so horsepower through one Firestone that isn't even up to temperature properly, it is not really going to end too well, as Aman Lal seems to be... Is this a technical issue? Or the number 30 in the lead?
Oh, no,
this is a gap coming down way too quickly.
I think it's the gambit for saving fuel together, because yeah, they need each other to save fuel together.
So this might actually be a strategic play from Aman Lal to actually allow Efting to come back into the draft so that they can make the 9-lap deficit on fuel, although they don't really need to at this point. They're 20 seconds clear of Nigel Stock in third. They're in a league of their own. This reminds me very much of the Hamilton-Verstappen 2021 season, where you had two drivers almost in a different universe compared to the rest of the field. But these two are going to continue to battle it out with 16 laps to go. Roland Efting let off the hook almost with a strategic advantage play from Aman Lal to allow him to get the slipstream back. The two teammates putting that little incident aside to make it to the fuel lap that they are planning to, which is that 9-lap stint.
Well, sounds like lock the rears. That was Nigel.
These cars, these new Indy cars, one thing I've noticed if we look at a replay here, it's going to attack the grass on the left-hand side. He's just going to get a little bit too greedy. Yeah, that's a brake bias problem, I think. Yeah. Just a little bit too much to the rear.
This is crazy, because yesterday we had a case in our team of someone locking the rear despite being the brake bias very towards the front. So yeah, these cars, yeah, when they lock up, it's never a good thing.
I'm not going to mention a certain incident that I remember that involves one of the runners in the top two, because he actually sent me a message last time I mentioned it to say, I'm surprised you actually remembered it. I hope that you didn't remember a little incident that I had. But one thing that I definitely noticed, and it stuck with me, was from a race at Phoenix in the International IndyCar League, where drivers were really struggling to get the cars slowed down and transitioned from the banking to the apron of the circuit. And even though it was very, very minimal in terms of the crossover, it was nothing like a Daytona or a Talladega. It was very, very shallow crossover point. But I think it's something to do with this new hybrid system. I've heard that it gives surges of power when you downshift, or it doesn't, or it just makes the car extremely unpredictable on that deceleration phase of a corner. And I think that it's just still, although that these guys have had the best part of 8-9 weeks now with this new IndyCar scan, it's still something that they're getting used to.
And, you know, especially we are on a very old chassis. The DW12 is still the chassis of the IR18, still the same chassis, different Aero kits. And yeah, that chassis is now 14 years old this year, and been worked in 2010 and 2011. The iconic project that they had. Dan Weldon himself worked on that car before he tragically passed away at Las Vegas in 2011. And yeah, very old chassis and being pushed to its limits. The new car can't come soon enough.
I think Formula One need to take a leaf out of IndyCar's book, making it so much more affordable by running the same chassis instead of making teams redesign an entire new car for every season. But I think that's what is part of the attraction to IndyCar. Everyone uses the same chassis. Everyone uses the same bespoke parts to make that chassis. The only thing that really is different are the power units and engines in the back of these Indy cars. You have Chevy and Honda, the two suppliers for that engine unit, and even then it doesn't really make too much of a difference as far as I'm aware. You
also have like the dampers and the suspensions also being being also different, and this is probably where like some teams can get their little edge on others, as still the parade, I will say, like the Autosport Air Force currently like just doing laps around the Monza track, showing off their strength. Actually, since we're talking about Monza Oval, maybe is Ifting going to make a move? No, he isn't. Monza is also in plenty of sim, but my favorite rendition is the combined layouts of Extra Corsa, because it's actually the 1966 layout. So you have like all the old buildings and like what the track looked like back then, and it's such a cool experience to do.
I've watched many a YouTube video from, I think it might have even been Jimmy Broadbent, where he does all sorts of crazy stuff. Or it might have been actually one of his good friends, GP Laps, where they're doing all sorts of crazy stuff and crazy cars around circuits, like the 66 configuration of the combined Monza. And it is quite funny to just think that cars actually did race around that bonkers layout of this amazing circuit that has been around for over 100 years now. But I would definitely like to see what it would be like if that surface got repaved, even if it was, you know, part of it. I understand that it's almost a historical artifact of world motorsport now, but imagine if that got repaved and they reinvented the Monza Oval into the 21st century, and then we had a NASCAR race, or we had a one-off Indy race there. Imagine how crazy that would have been. But that man on your screen at the moment, Dan Ench, currently 8th, started 7th, so he's dropped back 1 off the start. Dan Ench was quite frustrated, I think, with himself yesterday about his performance in the Velocity Online Racing Indy 500. Believed that he could have had a couple more places in him, but unfortunately got tangled up in the battle for the lead. With 10 laps to go, the blue flag rule came into play, and unfortunately for him, cemented his place in that race. Yeah. But what do you think?
Right behind
Should we repave it?
Should we repave the Monza Oval? Very good question. Like I have no, like I'm not against, I'm not for it. I just like if you need to repave, if you want to repave it, you gotta have like a few races there. I don't know if like people want to race on this monstrous oval. Actually, they do kind of race there. I don't know if it's still a thing, but like the Monza Rally Show actually uses the oval, and
yes.
The last time an official event raced on the oval, it's actually the Monza Rally for WRC in 2020 during the dark ages of COVID. Since they needed to get a season done quickly, they did a rally here at Monza, and they used all the forests you see around the track and the also the oval as special stages, and it was very unique. It was pretty fun to actually follow that through.
I can imagine doing a rally on the Monza Oval. That would be even more incredible. As we look on for Jason Lowe, I think he'll be a little bit disappointed with how today has gone for him, to say the least, in the 004 machine. I had him down in my commentary notes as one to watch, but started 6th, currently 7th, but that is far from telling of the type of afternoon he's had.
Thank God it's not the other way around.
Yeah. Exactly. And Matthias Strauss. Matthias Strauss, then, championship leader, started 3rd, currently 6th, and I believe still a lap down. He's going to be kicking himself along with Jason Lowe for what could have been this afternoon. We were looking forward to a very, very good fight at the front of this race, but unfortunately, we'll have to let the stewards come out with a formal opinion on the incident between those two. So I'm not really going to say too much, but unfortunately it's probably an afternoon to forget for our championship leader. As Ryan Bowles now, this is a man that started 8th on the grid, currently running in 5th. A good day, I think, for him, although he's had his struggles, I believe, for what seemed to be the most part. Couple of spins here and there, couple of losses of traction, spinning actually here at the second chicane, but still pointing in the right direction and not in the wall, which I think is the main part of today's race. Yeah,
exactly, and actually wrongly called him Todd Bowles earlier. That's because he has the same family name as Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach in the National Football League. So still managed to drop drop some American football. Frenchman knows American football. Yeah. You can, every day you can get surprised a bit.
Yeah, every day you get surprises, and every day you learn something new. And this is Nigel Stock, currently fourth, and is fifth, and sort of in a loose battle depending on pit strategy with the man that's currently ahead of him, which is David Strid. Nigel Stock, another competitor that competed in the Indy 500 yesterday. David Strid, a very good day for him, I think. Up one place, although he's finding himself currently in a podium place. Whether that is cemented by the end of the race, I'm not too sure. One of the majority of the drivers running the Chevy configuration of the Dallara IR18 at the moment, and this is now running through your field, the top two. So this is Rodan Eftink, started on the pole, which it says on screen, but he actually started at the back of this race. So he did qualify, he qualified first, but due to championship regulations, he would have started and did start from the back of the field, but finds himself very much so in that second spot at the moment, chasing a double in the International IndyCar League. And Aman Lal, a little lead for him at the moment, leading the most part of this race so far as we come up with 10 to go. Inherited the front row start alongside Matthias Strauss, who started on the pole, but a good day for him so far, and some good championship points coming his way regardless of whether he wins this or comes second.
Yeah, and good news for them, they'll be crossing the line now, 9 to go here, and I think they're pretty good on fuel. Also, I'm a little close to have the points for most laps led.
Yes, exactly. So 21 laps led for Aman Lal, and I think he started to feel the pressure as we're now in single digits with laps to go, covering off ever so slightly covering off the inside line for his teammate Rodan Eftink, who leads 13 laps. So that's almost pretty cemented now for Aman Lal to take home the extra points for the most laps led today, with Rodan Eftink tucked. So excuse me, I've had a cough all week, and it's something I had to manage for 4 hours yesterday, constantly muting and unmuting my microphone in the commentary booth.
That must have been horrible.
Oh gosh, yeah. I was luckily I wasn't the lead or shadow commentator. I was sort of doing more of the pit strategy calculations, but it was something that I constantly had to be mindful of. If I felt like I was going to plague the broadcast with an insane coughing fit, I'd have to jump on that mute button rather quickly. But with one stop to go, going back to what I was saying, this is still all to play for. I'm sure the gloves will come off soon.
Yeah, they're going to take all the gloves and go for it on the this final stint, because they won't need as much fuel saving as they did back then. So again, I still think Rodan has the edge on Aman Lal, and I still think he will win. And there they go. They go into the pits.
Into the pits. So this is last time into the pits for these drivers. I think this is the closest they have actually been to each other coming down the pit lane, and trundling along at 80 kilometers an hour. That's 50 miles per hour, I believe. Riding on board with the Buckley-Do machine, the number 18, pitting at the first pit box rather, as he is, well, the net qualifying in the lead of the races. We're very, very close.
Good job on Rodan. They're still side by side for there. Oh my god.
Little bit of contact on the barrier on the outside for Aman Lal, giving maximum space to his teammate. I don't think he'll pick up any damage from that, but it's nice to see that they still give each other the racing room. Still finding the gravel though, Rodan Eftink on the exit. That must have played in his mind a little bit what happened last time out, and I think at this point.
Jack, this is interesting. Look at the tire graphic. Eftink is on primaries, Lal is on alternates.
That's a very, very good point, Seb, actually. Have we seen Lal use the primaries yet today? Or has he been constantly...
He used first stint.
His first stint was on the primaries. Yes, so he started on those primaries. Of course he did. The front two started on the primary tyres. So this is going to be very, very interesting. Aman Lal needs to get those alternates fired up quickly and scamper away from Rodan Eftink, who is on that arguably slower primary tyre.
So yeah... Interesting. Yeah, the alternates, you have like a 2, 1, 2, that depends on the track length. lap window where like they have like this like 5/10 on the primaries, and after that they start to degrade, and like you have a phase where they have the same performance, and then very late in the run alternates will start to go slower than the primaries. But I don't think, this evening is going. I will have to as a work cut out for him for today because with his current. I don't know what's the strategy because I think he already used them stint one, correct? For the primaries. Oh, if thing goes local straight.
That was
the same mistake.
Going straight again. Yeah, same mistake. He's going to get the slowdowns. That's going to give the lead to Rodan Eftink, and I believe that is going to be gloves off, no longer teammates, every man for himself. With 7 to go, we're going to get a replay of this down into turn number 1. This is riding from the rear cam of Rodan Eftink, but what we're going to be looking at is actually in front, and it's again the rear locking. He got a big snap on turning and had to bail out down the escape road. That's going to give him a slowdown, which is why he's not picking up the speed as quickly as you would have expected. But that's now really, really hindered him on low. He's going to really need to look at that. He just actually no, it wasn't even a loss of the race. He just accepted he wasn't going to make the corner.
Yo, we crooked the corner. So that's crazy because he was maybe a lack of focus because he was trying to get like a second over Rodan. Well, now he's gonna go cool back. He has still those red tires, still much faster than the black tires, and he's already back on his butt. So let's see. This is going to be very interesting, Jack.
Yeah, we missed the live pictures of him retaking the lead, but it wasn't exactly a very interesting move. It was almost a completely routine maneuver as we look here. This is going to be out of the second Lesmo. Very important you get a good exit out of here, which is why you see drivers often dipping a wheel into the gravel, maximizing all the available track, and it's going to be simply up the inside with a bit of push to pass. He's going to make the move and pull back in ahead of Rodan Eftink before the Ascari chicane. So as I said, pretty routine stuff with 6 to go though. When does Eftink pounce? When does he make the move? His tires will come towards him towards the end of this one when Aman Lal starts to feel the cliff come towards him of those red striped Firestones, which you were mentioning just now, Seb. But when do you make the move as Rodan Eftink?
Since you're not at risk of having a caution here, pretty much I would say you still I would say 2 or even last lap you do the move. Now you have to do it at a good place. I would say maybe you want to do an Ascari. Maybe you want to do this move, but first for Rodan he needs to keep very close to Aman if he wants to have any chance.
Yes, 100%. He needs to be within striking distance of the number 30, the purple. Whoa, little bit of a twitch there for Eftink. He's really starting to wring the neck out of this Buckley-Doo machine in the number 18. Really getting the hustle on now. He's starting to feel the difference in grip between his old set of alternates and this harder and more durable set of primary tires. But I thought that potentially if you're close enough, if you can really nail that run through Ascari, we know and we've seen that Eftink seems to be more comfortable through Ascari than his teammate Aman Lal. We've seen that Eftink can take a little bit more curb on the exit compared to his teammate. Maybe the final corner, a last lap, last corner dive bomb to the inside is the way to go, as that's a big slide for Aman Lal out of the first chicane. He's feeling the pressure now. Those tires will be screaming in pain. The surface temperatures will be through the roof.
On the button.
And he's coming up on the inside. This is going to be an offensive line from Aman Lal. Eftink to the outside, thinks better of it.
Gloves are off.
Gloves are most certainly off now as they get... Aman Lal struggling for traction.
Yeah, Eftink nearly run into the back of him. Yeah, rule number 1, don't wreck your teammates. So they gotta still make it clean.
We look at the push to pass. Eftink is making a move. He wants to go 440 seconds apiece in terms of push to pass for each. And
Lal had enough push to pass. Why didn't he use his push to pass for defense? I don't understand. But hey, these guys probably maybe better what they do than me. So But we'll see.
I think this is going to be extremely strategic. I would imagine that Armand Lowe wants to be the second man in this train, because if you're the man in front, you're not going to have beneficiary of that push to pass. Well, obviously you will have push to pass, but the added boost of the slipstream, which we've seen is so strong here today. And it's something that I've definitely had into consideration when I've done races here at Monza. Sometimes it's almost better to be second place going into the last couple of laps, because then you're the man that makes the move. You're the one that gets the overspeed. You can time when the run is, as Jason Lowe comes into play there on pit exit. He's tried his best to get out of the way as Rodan Efting misses the apex ever so slightly. This is where Armand Lowe needs to get the power down. Into the second chicane we go. Push the pass is a go from Armand Lowe. He's going to look to the inside. Is he? Efting covers the middle of the circuit. Armand Lowe is going to try and have a look to the outside. Is he going to make the move? Outside line, breaks late. Is he going to hang it around the outside? No. Rodan Efting is going to hold on to that place.
Yeah, see, Efting covered the inside, but he didn't have a great exit. Thankfully, Lesmo 1 is not that far from the second chicane.
Starting to use those tires for him. He's managed to calm the rears down. Those surface temperatures obviously playing back into his hands. He's taking advantage of that extra sticky grip that those red Firestones are giving him. He's on the bottom. Once again, he's going to look to try and put off Rodan Efting, which has worked so far in this race. We've noticed a couple of times into a chicane when he showed his nose. Whoa! He's put... See what I mean? Armand Lowe is just not as comfortable as the number 18 through Ascari, and he has to get on the button to get into position once again and close back and make up for that mistake that he just made. But Armand Lowe looking almost on the back foot now as we head with 3 to go.
Yeah, now he has like a clock above his head, because how much can he strain those tires, those red tires, before they just give because they are overheating? So that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it's like a countdown above your head. It's like a lifeline. You get a certain amount of time where those reds are quicker than the blacks, but then as soon as that peak reaches, it's a very sharp drop off. And I think we're starting to see it come to Armand Lowe a little bit more now, as he's a little bit more squirmy on the exit of corners. He's struggling to get the power down compared to the number 18, the blue Velocity online racing car, Altena Autosport car of Rodan Efting through the chicane. They've done this many times so far today. They've done this the best part of 40 times. They're going to need to do it 3 more to make it to the checkered flag. The leaders at the moment, they've been in a class of their own. 40 seconds clear now of David Stritt in 3rd place, and we're going to have a 3-lap 2-horse shootout. This is very much reminiscent of the Hamilton-Verstappen days.
I would say it does remind me of 2020, where Gasly won his first Formula 1 race, where he had to put on a defensive clinic when Carlos Sainz was coming back like a madman in the final few laps.
Very much reminiscent of that. Almost a small mistake for Efting there, taking too much of the sausage curve in the middle part of the Ascari chicane. Very well held to keep the car pointing the right direction. He's very calm under pressure at the moment, Efting, but can Armand Lowe provide the pressure to get past? He's on the button once again. Those reds starting to show signs of where he's very far back, half a second back. 2 to go this time, Bicep.
Yeah, now Armand, he's gonna have to find some resources, like whatever remains, because
Rodan Efting goes straight over.
Oh my God!
Straight on at the first chicane. The first time we've seen him do that.
I was about to say that Armand Lowe was starting to run out of time, but then again, even while thinking about it, I'm jinxing Efting again.
He's got the slowdown, so Armand Lowe inherits the lead with 2 to go. This could be a race-defining moment. I said that Efting was so composed under the pressure that Armand Lowe was providing him, but those blacks just not providing the purchase of grip and the braking zone that he needed. The black harder compound of Firestone really doing him not too many favors there, and ultimately having to cause him to bail out of that chicane, giving him the slowdown, and now it's roles reversed once again. Armand Lowe leads the way coming to the white flag.
If I'm Lowe, I'm using that push to pass in every straight. He has 80 seconds. That's a lot to play with. So he'll have to use this in every straights from now on, because look at Ifting. Oh, look how close he is.
Oh, he's gone wide!
Man.
Aman Lau making a mistake at the Ascari chicane once again, going wide. Aman not so comfortable, as I said, through the Ascari chicane. Is Efting going to go for the move? I wouldn't personally.
No.
If I was in this race, I would sit and wait like a cheetah, waiting to pounce on his prey as we come to the white flag lap. Although this has been a race that has been building and building, white flag here at Monza. We'll see who is going to get here first. We see them weaving very much Indianapolis style down into the first chicane. It's going to be side by side. Rodan Efting to the outside. Aman Lau to the inside. The two teammates backing it up. Aman Lau is going to park on the apex, keeping that lead on the red Firestones. Much more purchase. Much more purpose, purchase, on the exit for Aman Lau. A little bit squirmish, as you mentioned, from Rodan Efting, but it's still not over.
If Ifting will make his move and will make the pass in Parabolica, mark my words. Because Lol has been very shaky at the exit of Ascari, so that's where Ifting will make his move.
Leaving absolutely no room for error, no margin left. Kicking up dust left, right, and center. Aman Lau is going to have a lot to contend with as we ride on board with the Bookily-Doo machine going to the outside of Ascari on the button. It's the last time, last lap lunge. Is it going to be around the outside? He's going to hold it. He's going to stick his nose. They're going to be side by side through. What a move! Rodan Efting to the lead on the last lap. Last sector takes the lead away from Aman Lau with a fabulous around the outside move of the Ascari chicane, weaving towards the Parabolica. But can Aman Lau provide anything? He's going to go a last lap move, and they both crash into each other. The two teammates, they waited for each other, but it's going to be Aman Lau that causes the contact with a last lap dive bomb move to the inside.
He will give it to Ifting. Interesting.
My word. That was the last thing we expected. Rule number 1, Seb. You said don't hit your teammates. There's going to be strong words in the VOR Autodromo Autosport camp after this one.
Well, Aman lets Ifting by after this one, so I guess there is going to be definitely some interesting conversations going on in the interview booth, no doubt about it, as we look at the third place man now, only just about coming out of the final quarter. That's how much of a lead they had on him, and it's going to be David Stritt that rounds out the top 3. A fantastic performance from him, albeit almost in his own test session there for the majority of the race. But sometimes all you need is a clean race and no mistakes to get the result you need. Well, that was a feisty battle. I'm pretty sure the boss man in our ears must have screamed when he saw what happened.
It's going to be a very interesting debrief, no doubt, in the Altena Autosport camp. But I think as we look at the replay, is this going to be a lovely thing off the trees? This is actually going to be the entire last sector. So what we see here, Efting on the button. This is going to be the move that sealed the deal for about 20 seconds. It was a beautiful move from Rodan Efting. He's going to go around the outside, and Aman Lau is going to give him the room. Very, very fair play from the teammates there. Efting makes it stick. Both of them get off of the Ascari chicane absolutely fantastically well, and at this point it's almost a done deal for Rodan Efting. But here we ride on board from the roll hoop of Aman Lau. He's going to dive to the inside. The gap's just not there. It's just not there.
Like Parabolica, that's not a big braking zone. You cannot dive on like a prime Daniel Ricciardo through there. So they're lucky they had a 30-second lead on the next car, because that's if they tried that with like someone right behind, that person would have either crashed into them or they would have passed them both for the win.
Yeah, I think that is simply just way too ambitious from the number 30 Aman Lau. You can see what he was thinking and you can see what he was trying, but as you said, Seb, the braking zone is just not big enough and the gap wasn't there. By the time he'd found himself to the inside line, Rodan Efting was already halfway through the corner. But regardless, we can debrief that in a few moments' time as we now get the unofficial results of today's running of the 43-lap round 10 race at the International Autodromo di Monza. Rodan Eftink is your race winner after a very controversial final sector even to the race. Aman Lal coming home in second place. Rodan Eftink will be happy with the points that he will gain over his championship rival Matthias Strauss. David Strid, solid performance from him today. Unfortunately, not much airtime for him as he was simply in his own test session, although in a very brief fight for that third place with Nigel Stock. Matthias Strauss recovering to fifth place. A beautiful recovery from him after unfortunate events opening the race in the first few laps. Ryan Bowles then in sixth, followed by Jason Lowe getting caught up in more first lap and first few laps opening intricacies. Dan Ench with a beautiful top 10 finish for him in eighth place. And Mike West rounding out the field today of our 9 cars that we had today at Monza. So then, we've had a couple of moments to debrief and calm down from that extremely crazy last sector. I mean, what do you think about that?
I'm a big fan of the move Rodin made in Ascari because that was big and ballsy and it was really beautiful. And pretty much he had a race. Yeah, he won the race there. I'm not a big fan of what Aman did. Probably he really wanted that win, and I understand. Sadly, he was beaten. Sadly, when the braking zone came in. Yeah, that's just unfortunate. But fair play to him for letting by his teammate again and giving him the win because, Rodin pretty much won it.
Yeah, exactly. It was a very, very controversial moment. And what we're going to do is I don't think Nigel Stock is actually available to us at the moment. If he becomes available to us, we will no doubtably get him in the commentary booth. But we're going to kick things off with the second place man today, which is Aman Lal. And Seb, I'm going to hand things over to you for our second place man today.
Aman Lal, this is Sebastian Ken in the commentary booth. Do you got a copy?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, man, this was a pretty interesting finale. What went through your head during this final lap?
Yeah, I knew I didn't have another chance after that corner, so I guess I kind of tried and it didn't. I guess it didn't pay off, but I gave the position back afterwards, and luckily Rodin didn't end up with race-ending damage in that corner. But it was a fun battle throughout the race. Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, after the last pit stop, you were on the red tires and your teammate was on the black tires. Was this something you discussed, or was it like a last-minute change you did, or do you have this in mind?
No, we didn't discuss it. I wanted to go on the reds, and I didn't realize he was on the blacks until like halfway around the outlap. But I think the blacks were the way to go because my rear tires especially, they were pretty hot by the end of it.
Yeah, it looked like it. Jack, do you have a question for Mon?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously with that last lap chaos, I mean, was it obviously it's a move that needed to come and needed to happen, but what was the plan going into the last lap? Were you trying to figure out a way to cover off Eftink, or was there a plan at hand, or was it literally just I'm gonna try and defend at the best of my ability, and if I can, just take the move back?
Yeah, well, going into that last lap, I knew my tires were quite bad. Even before that, I got quite lucky to get ahead because Rodin got a slowdown, so I was pretty much hanging on. So yeah, I just had to focus on trying to get good exits, just to hold on as much as I could. But he managed to get a good move done in Ascari chicane, and yeah, after that it was a pretty bit of a desperate move from me in the end.
Yeah, you mentioned about getting good exits, and we noticed that it seemed that these Indy cars really struggle on traction zones, especially out of the chicanes throughout the race, and that's something I would imagine you guys really have to manage.
Yeah, exactly. You can't spin these wheels, otherwise it's really hard to recover the tire. And I think I was spinning it quite a lot on the exits, so it didn't help.
Yeah, no, exactly. We could see from the commentary booth some very leery moments on exit of corners. But regardless, although it's not the top step of the podium that you would have been hoping for, Aman, I'm sure that it's a fabulous result nonetheless. And you're still within sight of the top three of the championship, heading into I believe it's Michigan next. So we won't be covering that here on the Velocity Online Racing channel, but we wish you the best of luck for that before we pick up the action once again at Indianapolis. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Aman Lal, the second finisher today at the International Autodromo de Monza. So then, after a very, very, very intricate and incredible finish to the racing action here, who joins us now in the commentary booth is the race winner of this afternoon, Rodan Eftink. And Rodan, just talk us through that last lap, because that was absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I don't know where to start, man. I think Aman was on the alternates, of course, so I was on the primaries. I think I just had that little bit of extra tire life. Although the tire degradation wasn't as bad today, but still, just on the limit every lap. Up until then, I could make that overtake around the outside in Ascari, I think that is. And I didn't expect Aman to just dive bomb me pretty much into Parabolica. It has a new name now, but I don't know it. Yeah. Luckily, I could save it, and Aman was nice enough to just let me by to hopefully not get a penalty for that, because after all, we did finish. So I think still a good team result.
Yeah, it's a very good team result, although possibly not in the cleanest fashion. But it seemed to be that I thought that this race would be rather easygoing in terms of a management standpoint, but it seemed to be that rear tyres were a big, big problem, not only for management, but also for wear. We saw a lot of times, both you and Aman, while chasing each other down for the lead, had a lot of moments on exit of corners. And I was speaking to Aman recently just now, saying that the rear management was an incredibly difficult thing to get his head around. Would you say the same?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you could see it. I felt it myself too. I think pretty much every lap we were spinning the tires out of turn one. It was difficult, but overall, I think you just want to get the best exit out of the corner because we were saving fuel pretty much all race. So a good exit is important then. But yeah, that's we were on the limit, both of us. So yeah, difficult race.
It must have been a good race nonetheless, those coming from the end of line penalties. Saw you qualify. Obviously, starting from the back of the grid means that didn't count for today, but you'll be starting from the back of the grid once again after doing a double for Michigan. And that must have been something that you needed to get on with, especially at the start of the race, considering you were so far back towards the rear end of the field.
At the start of the race, I was actually thinking I might just go straight and just not do turn 1 and 2 at all. But overall, everybody kept their noses clean, I think, mostly in turn 1, which was good for me because I know I had so much overspeed on them that I could easily pass them all on lap 1, maybe even some lap 2. And you could see from my qualifying lap that I had the pace to pretty much just run away. It was just we were saving fuel all race long, so couldn't really do much.
It's always a relaxing feeling when you start from the back of the grid, but you put the qualifying time in, and it's always competitive. But from a championship standpoint, it's a good day in terms of that as well. Unfortunately for your championship rival, having a tangle on the front straight, but coming away with a win while they had some difficulties definitely puts you in the championship lead and in a good setup for the final few rounds of the season.
Yeah, I hope we'll get some more wins. I'll try to win every one of them, of course, but that's going to be difficult. But yeah, Matthias didn't have a good day. I think he ran, he killed his front wing on my rear tires.
So what happened is during that little tangle with Nigel, he actually gave you a bit of a bump and lost the left part of his front wing, and then he got into a crash with Jason Lowe like a lap after that on the front stretch.
Yeah, that's it. You don't want to see that happening to your other championship rival. So we'll see.
Although from us, it means that there's still a wide open championship. Anyway, we'll let you get your Sunday afternoon back to relax after what seemed to be a rather intense finish to this International IndyCar League. Congratulations goes to Rodan Efting, the winner of round 10 here at Monza for the International IndyCar League.
Yes, thanks so much, guys.
You're welcome.
So, we did have Matthias Strauss very briefly in the waiting room, but it seems that he has potentially decided better of it in terms of speaking to us. I would love to get a word on his thoughts and his opinions on what happened and where he can go from here, but maybe we'll have to do it next time out when we cover the International IndyCar Series at Indianapolis. Regardless of that though, before we start looking to the future, in terms of today, they've never been to Monza before. That is the International IndyCar League, Seb. So do you think we can see these guys coming back here?
I would love to come back, but like with like 10, 12 more people, so that we have like a 20 driver grid. That would be like better. But honestly, yeah, it wasn't that bad. I mean, we had a cheeky fight for the lead that went down all the way down to the wire. So why not coming back here? Maybe on the combined layout, but that would be fun.
I think that the combined layout would be a fantastic idea and a fantastic option for next season. Speaking of upcoming stuff and things to look forward to, the next time that the International IndyCar League will be in action is at Michigan in 1 week's time, although there is no broadcast from us in terms of that. Where we can cast our eyes to here in the commentary booth is not March the 1st, March the 15th, where we will be broadcasting the Indianapolis 250. Coverage will start at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time and 2:30 or 3:30, depending on which side of Europe you are on. That's going to be an interesting one. After an Indy broadcast yesterday, I can't wait to go back to the Brickyard to get myself stuck in and ready to go for more IndyCar action. So, to round things off today, we had a 9-car field, probably not the strongest in the world, but it definitely did not disappoint in terms of action. We had a little bit of a working to yourself phase, I'll call it, you know, sort of getting yourself ready for the final run to the finish. It always seems to be the way in IndyCar. The middle of the race seems to be like a chess match, and then the massive crescendo at the end never disappoints, so it's always good to stick to the end. If you manage to stick to the end of today's broadcast, as I'm sure you will know, the YouTube algorithm does not help our creators very easily. So if you like today's content, if you like the stream, be sure to smash that like button. Please do subscribe and hit the notifications for more upcoming content and streams, such as the next event of International IndyCar League at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on March 15th. If you like, you can tell us what you think of today's race as well in the comments section down below. But as far as that goes, it has been a pleasure bringing you today's action from Monza. Alongside me is the wonderful Sebastian Kinder, and behind the board on the controls today has been Julian Altena. And thank you so much for joining us in today's coverage. And we'll see you in a week's time. Sorry, excuse me. It will be 1 week's time where we head to Sebring for the first VOR coverage of the Indy NXT Championship. So until then, have a fantastic week, have a fantastic Sunday, and we'll see you very shortly. Goodbye.